Recording, I'm going to talk about Hurricane Ian and some tools we can use to follow the storm as it comes in to a land area on the planet Earth and makes landfall, right? So I saw this image on Twitter from a meteorologist I respect, and it's just a screenshot from the NOAA showing the peak storm surge forecast, and we can see that it's going to be biggest in this region here. So after that, I popped on Gaia GPS to pull up a topo map of Tampa just to see what the elevations are in these regions. So the high points in here are about 40 feet high. That's what these topography lines and numbers indicate. So if this river bank is around 10 feet and the ocean's at 0 feet, this is 25 feet. And that's really relevant because a storm surge would have to be, 25 feet to get to that topography line. If we're looking over here, though, at the Harbor Island or the Davis Island Park, we can see that this is only about 5 feet above the water. So like the sewage disposal plant, 5 feet above the water, all that's going to be completely inundated by Thursday. This power plant that supplies power, what a horrible location for a power plant, oh my gosh. This is going to come offline as it gets flooded. So that's what we can see on the USGS topographical map. So anybody in this region, just assume you're going to lose power. Plan on that now. Hopefully you're heeding the warnings and getting out. The other thing that's notable in the Tampa region is this lower Hillsboro flood detention area. And the idea of this low-lying area is it's probably they've built up some levee structure. This is a low-lying area to just serve as a place to collect water to keep this area from flooding. However, it has a limit, right? And so when we're facing the levels of precipitation that are called for in this storm, here we go. This is the rainfall. So we're looking at over 15, 20 inches. If that happens in a short amount of time, this lower Hillsboro flood detention area will overflow and flood these communities. So that's a big concern. The other thing, we're jumping around here. So I'm going to put links to all these in the description below, but most of this information is coming from the National Hurricane Center and Central Pacific Hurricane Center. And from here we can see all these great links. Ooh, let's check out this update statement that's new. They're about 280 miles from the coast. So that just came out about 40 minutes ago. Okay, what else? So looking at this potential storm surge flood map, and you can click on all these links here to see different categories of things that are going to cause problems for humans living in these areas. So wind speed probabilities, arrival time of wind, wind advisory. I'm actually not going to focus too much on those right now. Let me click update. Oh, let's go back. I want to look at storm surge because that's what's most concerning right now. And there's plenty of information on public media outlets about why that is what it is. So I just want to look at some of these more detailed maps so you have a better understanding. So here's Port Charlotte, and we're looking at greater than 9 feet above ground storm surge, so you can see all these areas getting flooded. And this is a little south of Saratoga. So there's Saratoga. And we'll go and look at this on the topo too. So here's the Saratoga area. And we can see these are very low elevation spots. So storm surge of, 9 feet. Well, that's 15 feet right there. It's going to cause some problems. Looking south as our map continues to load, all these coastal communities. If you're watching this and you live in these areas, people in these areas, get out now. There's nobody that's going to be able to help you escape during the storm. Another sewage disposal pond that's going to be flooded. So you're not going to be wanting to drink any water with all the sewage that's going to be in the water system post-storm. Continuing to scroll south, we got a water tank here, and we can see that feeding all these areas. What is in the Rotunda? West Branch Creek is here. This is kind of like they built up the elevation in this area, but it's really actually not that high of an elevation. So these areas are looking like they're going to get flooded as well. There's Fort Myers. Let's compare that with this map. Oh, so we're just looking at the Rotunda there. So when the storm surge comes into this Charlotte Harbor, there's just a lot of constriction that's going to cause that 9 foot above ground, and so that's the reason the prediction's higher in Port Charlotte than up here. And we saw this a couple weeks ago in Alaska on the west coast, in Hooper Bay, for example. So let's zoom out. And I'm actually going to change layers here. Let's look at an ocean chart here. That's not giving us what we want to see. Okay, so we got that added. Back. Here it is. Sorry about that. I'm recording this in real time. So these numbers denote depth. So this is like a 12-foot deep harbor, 24 feet. Here we go. So Charlotte Point, back on our map over here. Charlotte Beach, Peach River, Cleveland, Punta Gorda, all these places are going to face the highest level of storm surge. So zooming here in, we can see that these are pretty shallow canals, 15, 20 feet, likely all been dredged out. And then let's go back to our layers. I'll actually look at slope angle. and we can see there is no shading coming in from the slope angle because this area is so flat. So your 9-foot storm surge is going to inundate pretty far. We'll look at the topo one more time. So getting deeper into what Charlotte Harbor looks like on the USGS topo. Alligator Bay. And again, I'm scanning for like key infrastructure. Like, you know, you're not worried about this golf course flooding. That's not important. But like this trailer park that's low lying at like 15 feet elevation, it's just going to get completely inundated. So anybody who lives there is going to be displaced. That's a big deal. There's railroad there. Wonder where the power station is. Murdoch. So at least we're not seeing things like we're seeing in other spots where you have like sewage treatment plants and power stations like right on the water. Doesn't mean they're not there. It just means I'm not seeing them on the map right now. Okay, switching gears a little bit here. Let's look at the USGS National Water Information System web interface. And this is a spot where we can see the gauges of these rivers, like the Hillsboro River near Tampa Bay. And going to this gauge page, we can see where the river's at right now. And that's, you know, it's right down here at about, this river's measured in feet, so 20 feet. And we can see where it's been in other spots. So as the storm comes in, we can see how big it's going to flood. We also can see historic gauge. So the highest this river has ever gotten was in, after 52 years of data, was 22.78 feet. And today, so that's like right up there. It's never really gotten over 22 feet. It'll probably get over 22 feet during this storm. And this is the spot where that will be measured, or the measurement will be displayed. Here's another gauge page for Brushy Creek near Sulphur Springs. Highest value is 40 feet. Latest value is 37. So we can see that these creeks that flow into the ocean and river systems, their flow value doesn't really get much higher than their highest value because the land is so flat. So to go from 37 feet to 40 feet on a pretty flat surface, you know, the river goes out of its banks and it just floods for a big area. So if this river was constricted in a canyon, these values would be a lot higher. The bad news is if it goes to 44 feet, you're going to get a lot of flooding inland. So I do plan on watching these gauges. They're kind of cool. You can, every red dot is a gauge, so you can follow them. You can click on a red dot and then left click, open new tab to pull up the gauge station page, and then have that up and watch it as the storm comes in. So just a neat tool for the quiver that you're not going to see in your traditional news service. In any case, that's all I got for you today. If you found this useful at all, even if it's the only video you watch, please subscribe and like and give me a comment. Thanks for watching. We'll see you around.